So as I come out of Warner Springs is 109 miles. I crested the past the first 100 miles. A lot of things come into play, but I think the first 100 miles will probably fall into the basket of lessons learned. And it reminds me of this guy who lives in my town, a friend of mine. His name's Ken Dean, and he's an attorney. Kenneth Dean, attorney at law. Anyway, he's one of those guys that, you know, he's got money, but you would never tell it by looking at him or the things that he has. But he's extremely sharp, like sharp as a tack. He's one of those guys that's got a story for every occasion, a joke for every setting, and that's just him. But I'm reminded of his car. Now, this guy had an old 70s model, square-bodied, poop brown Dodge Diplomat, and it had a boat hitch on the back of it. He would say, one day he says, "Billy, you know, people probably think that I'm crazy for driving that old car, but man, that thing's been bought and paid for longer than I can even remember. And I'll tell you another thing, that car will pull a boat as well as any truck will." Well, one day we were loading up in that old Dodge Diplomat to head down to Arkansas on a duck hunting trip, and we hit the highway, hit cruising speed, and as we hit cruising speed, he said, "You know, I never ever pay attention how fast I'm going because I just listen for that little whistle." And as I paid more attention, I heard this little whistling noise coming from the dash. He goes, "Billy, when I hear that whistling noise when I'm traveling, I know I'm in the sweet spot because the engine's just purring, gas mileage is great, smooth sailing, and this old boat just floats." And he went on for a while, but the end of that statement, he said, "Billy, I guess I said all that to say this, is you got to find your sweet spot in life." So, which reminds me to think about my first 100 miles on the trail.
Howdy.
Hey, what's up?
How you doing, man?
First 100 miles on the trail, I'm gonna say number one, you gotta take it easy on yourself. Not just physically, but mentally. And what I mean by that is that you might have an idea of jumping out on this trail, hitting a certain amount of miles, but you gotta listen to your body, be easy on yourself. So another thing is that no matter how much experience you have backpacking and the outdoor, in some way, starting off on a big trip like this, even if you're experienced, you're still gonna feel like a little bit of a rookie at the beginning of any trek. So don't beat yourself up. Take it easy on yourself. Secondly would be hike your own hike. People are gonna come and go. They're gonna pass you, and they're gonna do different things. You'll pass them, and it's just, if you're competitive like I am, you can get caught up in log miles, pound sand, roll out. Hike your own hike, because in the end, only you're gonna have the memories that you make and you see. So hike your own hike, man. And most importantly, in the words of Ken Dean, when you're out here on a trail, you gotta find your sweet spot, man. Your sweet spot in how you look at things and how you try to seize every day, or, you know, what mileage that you try to make every day. Just gotta find your sweet spot. And that, my friends, is probably one more thing. Anything that you start out, give yourself on a long distance hike, give yourself a 100-mile learning curve, because you're going to learn so much in the first 100 miles, because every spot's different. So give yourself a 100-mile learning curve. Don't be too hard on yourself. Hike your own hike by finding your sweet spot. We'll see what the next few 100 miles hold. So, as I'm flexing on the desert a little bit, logging some miles in the heat of the day, I've noticed several greenhouses in the desert, and I'm only assuming it's for legal horticulture, but I find it, there's a lot of them, and at first I was kind of curious of what they were, but as you look at them, it's obvious. Some of the greenhouses are like, I don't know, 50 yards long, maybe. I don't know how wide they are, because about as close as you're getting to them is 300 to 500 yards. And they're usually at an angle, so it's hard to tell. But anyhow, today's day 10, and feeling good. So it's about 6:20. I'm heading out of Brooklyn Ferry, which is at mile marker point 145.4, and I'm also about 6.5 miles from a little burger joint called Paradise Valley Cafe. Trail proclaimed the best burger on the trail. So my plan is cruising there this morning, get one of world famous Billy Poe's breakfast, bacon, eggs, biscuits, gravy, pancakes. We'll fit down and grab one of these world famous burgers to go. Probably eat it for lunch or dinner or whatever. But once we leave the cafe, it's a pretty steep traverse from what I understand, what I'm looking at on Gut Hook. About a 2,400 foot change in elevation, which is a lot different than what we've been doing. The elevation changes have been minuscule compared to that, 500 or 600 feet at a time, but we'll see. And I can't wait to judge one of these best burgers on the trail. I love burgers.
Sometimes I'm at the peak and other times I'm about to fall. Sometimes I gotta wonder what I'm doing here at all. Sometimes in my mind I just sit here and I'm guessing. How can I find the answers? I don't even got the questions. Sometimes I'm at the peak and other times I'm about to fall.
So since leaving Warner Springs, headed to Idlewild, I heard quite a bit of chatter about San Jacinto, and it's kind of put fear into people about not wanting to summit that small place. And here's my thoughts on that. Okay, but before anything else, you have to look at the facts. What are the facts in this specific scenario? Well, is there snow on the trail between Paradise Valley Cafe and Idlewild? And the answer is yes. Is it icy and slick? Yes, it is. So, other facts are there several rescues that have taken place in a San Jacinto descent and ascent? Yes. But who knows the totality of the circumstances for those problems? And either way, it's undetermined, so you just have the facts for what they are. Also, another thing you have to take in consideration are a lot of people that are pumping these facts out there are people that are pushing their own social media agenda. Like they want bumps on Instagram, or they want, you know, likes on Facebook, or whatever other media they're using. So, which is all good. I like social media. I mean, I happen to be one of the people that are kind of addicted to it. But with that being said, their social media is only as successful as the story they create, or the story that there is. And what makes a better story than danger and edginess, you know, or controversy? All right, then, you got to take that in consideration, because if you let that get to you, their hype in their own story, which is great, I love it, it makes things interesting, but I can't let it dictate what I do. So the way I see it is this: bottom line, I come too far to like miss out on some experiences, and that the last 150 plus miles that I've done, every step that I've taken, every accurate placement of a trekking pole, or every rearranging of gear for redistribution of balance and weight, you know, it's just one thing I've been doing to prepare myself for the harder things. And most importantly is that if you pass up on these smaller challenges like summiting San Jacinto, then I honestly think that you are hurting yourself in the long run, because you're passing out on experience, you know, and just a little bit of snow and ice. What's it going to be like when you get up into an area where you summit Mount Whitney? Or what's it going to be like when you get into the Sierras, you know? I say we come too far not to get it, you know? And that's my goal. And I'll try to rally a couple people who are of a like mindset and go out there and put in some work and get some cool pictures for my social media. So the thought of the day: put your mind on it and then put the grind on it, baby. Because fear will get in your mind and it'll cause you going around, and then you start going around a lot of things and you miss out on a lot of cool stuff. Just put in the work, respect it, don't fear it, and just get it. So here's a trough. You're going to see this as I approach. We will experience it together. And I'm looking for some koi fish in here. No such luck. But I think I'll just get my water right there out of that spigot. As I sit down here in this valley, in the shade just up from Tunnel Spring, I want to add to my thought of the day and say, don't just haphazardly just trek off and recklessly climb up something that's potentially dangerous. Don't do that. When I say get out there and get it, I also mean that you got to put in your homework. you got to stop into your local outfitters, the people that are considered the local pros, the people with similar mindsets like you. They want to get stuff done, but they want to get it done safely. So stop in there, you know, talk to those people. They're going to tell you the safest routes. They're going to tell you your best bets, the times when the snow melts, when it's the most dangerous during the day. And make sure you take a map. Pick up a free map that has all the trails on it, or if you have to, spend a couple bucks on a local map. You're supporting a local business, and take their advice. Put together a plan with a group of people that you plan on going up with. I wouldn't recommend it alone, but if you got to go alone, make a plan, tell somebody where you're going, and then trek off. Don't let the hype or the fear mongering or anything else get in your way of getting the full experience of the PCT. And part of that is, the adventure. Don't pass up on the adventure. Just be smart about it. Be very smart about it. Be, careful and articulate and accurate with your foot placement, your trekking poles. But do it, man. Do it. When it's do or die, just do it.
Reminisce Reminisce my past is my present, baby.
So, being in the military, especially the Marine Corps, it's clear that I'm no stranger to the field, deployment, or MREs. But what I've got to share with you now is an MRE. Let me share with you now. Let's see, you got, boom! This is one of the world famous burgers from Paradise Valley Cafe. Oh. Pow! And a bag of chips. Yeet! And an orange. Meals ready to eat. PCT style.